Hi guys. So in the other video, I talk a little bit about the nuts and the bolts of like what the course is. But right now I want to talk about why you would want to take the course. So, I don't know, 15 or so years ago, I kind of had a difficult horse, personality wise and physically wise. He was kind of it's just a complicated horse all around. And I had to start delving into how horses learn because the traditional training wasn't really working for him. And I had to figure out why. It was a really good journey for me because it really changed a lot how I think about training, even if from the outside it doesn't look very different. And what I realized the benefits were a couple things. One, no matter what the personality of horse, I had tools in my toolbox that I could use for that horse. Some of them don't like just the traditional pressure and release training. And so if your horse isn't thriving with that or isn't doing well with that, it's really good to kind of understand how other ways you can train based on how the horse learns. So that was my particular case. It really opened up the lines of communication, which is so important when we are pursuing a sport with them because it allows us to read them. It allows them to have a no and for us to start to understand why that no came about. Not just that the horse has to do what we said. But we start to open up this two-way line of communication, which makes for a much more positive experience, both for you and your horse. So if you're looking for a gentler way to train, a way that you really feel like you're working with your horse toward a common goal, that your horse is joining you on the journey, not that you're making him or her come along, that's where all this information really starts to change your perspective on training. And so I find that it's really easy to say, oh, well, it makes the communication better, or, this allows you to have a more positive experience. Like they're all just words. And it isn't until you really delve into the understanding of more on a neurobiological and a psychological and an emotional state what your horse is going through and how they're interpreting what you're doing until your shift really happens. And then the end result is all these positive things. But it's like first you kind of have to get through the what, the why, the hows, those kind of thing. And then you get the really cool results. So my motivation was because when I originally started with this kind of work was because I was just struggling with day-to-day interactions with my horse. But it doesn't have to be that drastic. You can just want better communication. You can just want a more harmonious ride. You can just want that you and your horse are on the same page every time that you guys are together. You can just want to be both intellectually more apt at training. All of these are the benefits of learning this information. And it really does change the way you think about the simplest of things, from tying a horse to putting it on the trailer, from teaching it to allow the saddle and a person on them to doing pee-off. It is once you start changing your perspective and you start looking at motivations and you start looking at things from your horse's point of view, it kind of really opens up a whole entire different world. And it allows for cleaner aids. It allows for, so of course we look at all the soft things that allows the better communication, the better relationship, more positive training methods. But it also allows you just to be a better trainer, to be able to understand your aid process more and why you're doing something in a particular way or why you're doing it at that timing. And so I guess I could go on and on with all of the great facets of how this changed my training, but it does. I want to tell you that. And it seems like on the outskirts, just looking in, that it really wouldn't that much, but it really, really does. And it has changed so much of just my day-to-day interactions and how I even make my training chart for the week. Like what horse is going to do what and when and why and how. And then how I'm going to get them better opt to, go off the farm and go to a show and all of that. And I do not have, the secret to everything, but I do know that understanding how horses learn and how it all the training appears to them, and looking at their perspective and their motivations on it is the ticket to a better training method. So that in a nutshell is the why I think you would really enjoy taking this course. And of course, the other video tells you more exactly what the course has to offer.